Hello, GM, good afternoon, good morning, good night, depending on where you are. Uh, I'm going to kick off today's 10-10 call. Before I do that, we're going to go around the room right now and just introduce each other. I'll start with myself and then we can sort of jump into the agenda points. But myself, some of you know me as Bav, some of you know me as the 10 chief hashing authentication double checker. I mean, it depends on the day, I'll be honest. But Liam, for those who have maybe not seen you or heard from you in the past, why don't you give a little brief overview of what you do and who you are?
GM guys, you probably know me by now if you've been coming to these 10 out of 10 calls, but I'm Liam and I work on the growth and partnership side here at 10. And I'm really excited for this special edition with two of the 10 co-founders.
I'll go next. Hi, Gav. I've had a haircut especially for this as well. Can you tell? Thanks, man. And I'm wearing my special pink t-shirt, which apparently is good luck, according to Bav. So hi, good to be here again. Always love these 10-10 calls. Great to be able to connect again with you guys out there in 10 community. And yeah, co-founder, so work with Case and Tudor to get 10 to be a thing. Case.
Awesome. Thanks, Gavin. Loving the energy so far. I'm Case, aka Revelation. I, like Gav said, one of the co-founders, mainly focus on product, community. Like Gav, we brought over some of the world's largest institutions to blockchain with Corda previously. I led R3's work on digital assets, CBDC, and payments, and we'll be doing the same, but even bigger with 10. Good to be here.
Amazing. All right, guys, for all the listeners who've just dialed in, this 10-10 call, every 10-10 call, sort of, I guess, if we were to call 10-10 the TE kitchen, every call is inspired by a different flavor. And the flavor for this week is we shall be going through the recent community round on Legion. We have some updates on cookies, and then also some juicy bits around the TE kitchen and Gav and Revelation or Case. They want to dive more deep into the sort of roadmap of 10, both as a project and both alongside the token. So let's begin. So I'm going to give myself a bit of a mental drum roll. All the requests are in for the recent community round. The votes have been counted and verified. And drum roll. Okay. The final number on the 10 community round on Legion, we were oversubscribed by 567%, which counts us as over 5.6 million in requests. Can you believe it? Gav, can you believe it? I see you grinning.
I was taken by surprise, actually. We were always optimistic, but that just blew it away.
Amazing. And like I said, everything's been verified. We've gone through all the request applications. Those that have been accepted have been notified. So yeah, I guess let me start this 10-10 call by welcoming all the new community members who are now part of, who are literally part, have always been part, but literally part of the 10 journey now. And then yeah, as we transition to the next goal, I mean, the goal really here is to make 10 great, and more so to make Ethereum great again by bringing encryption with TEs. That's the goal. I think before we go beyond a run before we can walk, I'm going to pass it over to Liam. Liam's going to give us some juicy bits about the final snap down with Cookie. So Liam, over to you.
Sure. Yeah, so I just want to start with the growth. Since the Snapdown was launched, we've seen such amazing increase in awareness across our Twitter. And to give you a sense of the scale, our X account has grown a lot. We've seen more engagement on our posts, which is, more than double compared to before the campaign. So we really love what you guys have been doing for on X. I know that people right now are fighting for leaderboard spots. So I want to first give you some tips on how you can be a part of that and win the prize pool. To give you a reminder, the total prize pool is 360K in 10 tokens going to the top 1,000 creators that will get distributed to TGE. 50% unlock at launch and the rest vesting over 6 months with no cliff. So yeah, this there's a lot of amazing opportunity up for grabs. And so if you haven't been putting your all into Snapping, now is definitely the time. We don't have so long left. But yeah, what I really want to dive into, because I've seen a lot of questions, is the content itself and what's really been actually hitting. For us, the team, we've seen such a range of posts, and a lot of them have been amazing, 10 out of 10. But we've also seen some posts that we think there's a lot of improvement that could be done to them. So I want to give you some tips on how you can really do that. One thing that I've seen really outperforming expectations is video content. Some of you have been creating amazing videos. We've had, creators recording short, direct videos, even just 15 to 30 seconds, some talking to the camera, some with AI, whatever it is. But these things I think have been really good in breaking down what we're building with our poker. One of the most important aspects of this is making sure that what you're creating and putting out there is authentic. So, you don't need to sound like a press release or an AI bot. The best posts are in your own words that clearly sound like your own voice. And I've been looking at the leaderboard, and it seems like those are the posts that are really winning and getting up there on the leaderboard. The second thing I want to say is make sure that you're really leaning into the DNA of 10 and the words that we're using on our Twitter and what you see in the Content Hub, whether you're talking about iGaming, poker, or DeFi, whatever it is, the highest scoring points are the ones that don't just mention us, but take these ideas and put them into something that people really understand. And also consistency is really important. So, cookie scoring, as you guys might have known by now from trying different kind of posts, it's not about one viral hit tweet. It rewards the people who have been showing up week after week, keep, trying, push the story forward in different ways, try different content forms. Those are the people who we see creeping up and gaining those top spots in the leaderboard. I'd love to maybe show actually some content I've been looking at that I think is really valuable. Let me see if I can do it here to give you guys an idea of what is really winning. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, here. Okay. So yeah, I want to give a few shout outs. Some shout outs, some of the content that we as a team think is really 10 out of 10. Of course we love threads. We love people who are writing really informative threads, but we also love kind of fun cultural takes, memes, videos, all of it. This one in particular, I really liked because it's by Pedro Robbie. And this was, for me, a 10 out of 10 post because it talks about our 0 to 10 incubation program, which is coming up, and talks about how, most blockchain games are transparent and, that works for maybe some things, but it kills strategy games like playing chess. And so I would recommend everyone, and you can see they've, worked here to create a little image that shows this. So I think if you're really looking into our new updates and, in particular, our 0 to 10 program, there's a lot of really insightful stuff there where you can learn about different use cases and ways that 10 can be used. It takes a use case everyone understands, which is chess, and it explains why transparency isn't always good in this way. So this is a great post. And then this one I really liked, mainly because of the artwork. I thought this was really cool, but also this is by Daniel Wabusi, maybe. Sorry if I butchered that, but Daniel, I've seen Daniel's been posting really nice artwork alongside, explanations of 10's use cases. So this one talks about sealed bid auctions, and he broke it down really clearly. On Ethereum, bids are public, which leads to all kinds of issues with sniping, front running, and it explains how through TEs, which a lot of you guys have been learning about recently, it allows for these bids to be encrypted. And so you can see that in the case of an auction, the bids are encrypted and they're only revealed when the auction ends. So organizers can choose what they want to reveal, and fairness is guaranteed, which is one of the amazing things about TEs. So it's been great to see people really learning and diving into the tech there. And then this other one is I also just thought the artwork and cat was really cute, but also it explains why TEs really matter. And I think what I would recommend on that, this is a great post because it also asks questions, and I've seen people have been engaging with those questions. It's a great thing to do to really grow that community. But another thing I would recommend is, dive into other forms of privacy too. Look into the others and make comparisons, and, start some debates among yourselves too. That's a really great way to engage. And also, I think increase smart engagement. So which is what's going to be essential. So yeah. And if you haven't already joined our 10 out of 10s community on X, definitely join that, because I've seen that a lot of people have been supporting each other. I definitely like a lot of the posts that I see going here. And yeah, you can see some of the media that you guys have been creating, which has just been some of it is so funny. Some of it's really cool. I don't know which tools you're using to create those, but yeah, I would just like to say, shout out to everyone so far who has been, a part of this campaign. Going forward, I think we'd love to see, if you really want to win and increase your points, more threads, like take a deep dive into the tech, as well as more video content, because even just short one takes, they really, for us, we can see that they really punch above their weight, and they really work in terms of increasing engagement and getting yourself up there on that leaderboard. And yeah, and remember that, if you are, a lot of people have been asking me, they feel they've been snapping a lot and they haven't maybe got the rewards that they want. Definitely make sure that you're writing really authentic content. And also, if you are snapping across a lot of different projects at the same time, you are going to be penalized for that. So we want 10 out of 10 loyal people, add 10 out of 10 to your name. And also keep an eye on the Content Hub, because we are going to be rolling out a lot of really cool initiatives on that, like the teas in the kitchen, which you guys might have seen. And those are perfect moments to really jump on. So yeah, talking about them while they're hot is how you can generate buzz and climb the leaderboard. So yeah, massive thanks to everyone who has been stopping. And that is all the cookie updates from me. So back to you, Buff.
Amazing. I can already hear the listeners clapping by their screens. Now, I guess the next focus, guys, I want to give you more insight into what we're doing on the builder side, because maybe it's just me, maybe I'm biased, I probably am, who knows. But there are so many projects out there that talk about privacy use cases or encryption use cases. But none of them provide builders, devs, users, their community with a way of actually doing it in not just a seamless fashion if we talk about Web3, but rather how can one go from zero to a deployed dApp, leveraging AI in the most seamless, efficient way. So you might have seen it. We announced it last week, I believe. We've had tons of applications, by the way. But we're launching something next week called Cooking in the TE Kitchen. Everyone's really excited. I already know. You haven't got to tell me. So I'm gonna share my screen. Do let me know when you see it. Yes.
We saw it before. We got. There we go. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so like I said, I'll start again. Cooking in the TE Kitchen alongside Lovable. So before I actually proceed, I'm going to give you more insight into some of you may know Lovable, some of you might not. Lovable is the latest AI unicorn. They recently raised 200 million, and within 8 months, so from 0 to 8 months, i.e. present day, they've got over 2.3 million active users, and they now want to go into Web3. They see what they're building, which is this vibe coding AI tool. They see it as a great potential PMF fit for Web3. So they've actually agreed to partner with 10 here on Cooking in TE Kitchen and show the world how easy it actually is to leverage vibe coding to build real encrypted dApps on 10 using only Solidity. So like I mentioned, the applications have already begun. We've got tons of applications. We're going to begin with 10 builders, or in this case, 10 chefs, because it's obviously TE Kitchen. So what does it do? So we're going to have multiple sessions. We're going to have 6 sessions where all these chefs come on and we'll do a live stream as we're doing right now every week, starting from the 25th, i.e. Monday. And the goal really here is we want to show the world that whilst 10 is of course very seamless, but EVM compatible, all the smart contracts written in Solidity code, but we want to show how easy it even is to go from 0 to Solidity code, and how you make your life 10x, if you pardon the pun, but 10x better, 10x easier, and 10x just your life 10x happier when you're building on 10. So it's going to be a session. Like I said, we've got applications. We're going to choose the 10 chefs by tomorrow. So I believe today will be the final day to apply. If you want to apply, it's on the 10 Protocol Twitter feed or X feed, and we're going to judge these builders at each stage. If I just scroll down for a second, there's going to be 6 main sessions. Session 1, we have a representative from Lovable, like I said, who've agreed to partner with 10 to be the first Web3 project to to join arms with the latest AI unicorn coming out of this AI revolution. And each session will see one chef get knocked out, finally, penultimately leaving a winner and a second and third place. The prizes are going to be the winner gets a guaranteed spot in the most esteemed 0 to 10 incubation program, where you are guaranteed up to $100,000 worth of builder support. And second and third place will get an automatic grant up to 50K. Everyone else, again, we don't want anyone to feel like left out. So we've made sure to speak to Lovable. Everyone's going to get Lovable merch. They're going to get free credits to carry on using the Lovable platform. And of course, you're going to get your 1010 jerseys and all the 1010 merch that everyone's been messaging me about. So I guess the first question here is, what are we looking at in terms of the applications? I mean, to be honest, given it's vibe coding, you can go from 0 to code with not so much tech capability or tech knowledge. We actually aren't too picky on whether you're a non-tech or tech person. Rather, we want someone who already in their mind has thought of an encrypted dApp or use case on 10, whether it's something like a game with hidden maps or hidden characters, whether it's something in DeFi like a dark pool, whether it's something in iGaming. We want someone who maybe has done a bit of research into 10 and has a great idea which they want to build in front of the community. Not only will it be a great spotlight for your own personal brand, but rather also it will be in front of thousands of 10 community members at any given moment in time, and it'd be a great way for them to, of course, acquire users to these use cases they build on 10. So during this whole process, we're going to judge them. Like I said, it's going to be knockout rounds from session 2. Like it's going to be the originality of the dish, the flavor, speed, presentation, whatever it might be, and at the end of it, we're going to crown the main winner. I think this is a good 0 to 10 summary of it, but perhaps if there's any questions, by all means, put them into the chat. We'll answer them right at the end. And yeah, like I said, Lovable, latest AI unicorn, joining arms with 10. So we're bringing not just encryption to Web3, bringing vibe coding alongside encryption to Web3. I can't think of any better collaboration right now. 10 already, like I said, is Solidity, smart contracts. It's even compatible. There's no external SDK reliances, but even we're going to show the community with these 10 chefs, deeming one winner at the end, that building on 10 is not only moving Web3 forward, but building on 10 also is just the easiest way to build in Web3 at this current moment in time, alongside amazing partners like Lovable. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen there.
Do you know that Lovable is the fastest growing software startup ever?
I did not know. I did not know that.
And they're partnering with us first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I heard they've only been around for 8 months, and they've got a unicorn status. That is mind-boggling, to put it simply. I mean,
they hit 100 million in subscription revenue in ARR in just 8 months. No company's ever done that.
Wow. And they've chosen 10 of all the chains out there, the L1s, the L2s, even L3s, probably L4s out there I'm not aware of. They went and chose 10. What does that tell you about how bullish they are on encryption? And not just any encryption, but TE encryption, because this is cooking in the TE kitchen. What does that word? Liam, what does that tell you? I see you smirking. I know you're thinking of something. What does that tell you?
I'm just speechless. Like, it's just, yeah, they get it.
They get it. I get it. Case gets it. Gavin, I saw you've come in wearing your Lovable color kit. Would I say you're bullish then? That means?
I'm not sponsored by Lovable, just for the record. But you sound surprised, Bev. You don't need to be surprised, because I think it's awesome the way you guys. I mean, you guys have orchestrated this. I think you've done a great job. It's awesome how you're reinventing the hackathon. The hackathon format was tired. It's been unchanged for years, and here you've brought a fresh look. TEE Kitchens, something we've not seen anywhere else, and Lovable clearly are on top of it, and they love it as much as I do.
Exactly. So I think next on the agenda list, we've had tons of community questions regarding the future of 10. I mean, I'll repeat myself for those who might have just joined recently in the last few minutes, but our community cell was oversubscribed by 567%. Now that's over 5.6 million in requests. So we've got tons of new community members who are now actually part of the 10 network, part of the journey, part of the roadmap, part of the future tokenomics, etc. So how about we now take this opportunity to actually give them more info from Gav and from Revelation as far as 10 goes as a network, as a business, and anything in between.
Yeah, thanks, Bev. And yeah, welcome to all the newcomers. Absolutely awesome to have you on board, and really pleased you've got faith in 10. It is awesome. And actually, a quick look back at what you were talking about, Liam, about Cookie. I think the quality of the content coming out from everybody involved in that campaign is mind-blowing. And it really takes me back a little bit to when Case and I were at R3 and working with bright minds, working with smart people. It's just it's so much more pleasant. You know, it makes every day actually a fun place to be working when you're with smart people. And I think 10 Community is getting a reputation now as being a magnet for the smart people that want to come together, work on something that's meaningful, something that's going to have a bright future. And I'm sure something amazing will come out of TEE Kitchen. 100% confident we'll see an absolutely awesome winner in that event. So yeah, I mean, that's a good segue on to how as a team we've always worked on optimal outcomes at 10, and we cater as much as we can for everyone that's involved, whether you're a community contributor, whether you're a Legion participant, a musketeer, or even an early investor. We always try to achieve the right balance between all of you, and that principle really plays into many of the decisions that we make about 10. And you know, Bev, you already touched on it a little bit around Solidity, compatibility. Well, more than that, you can deploy Solidity straight to 10 because it's that easy. You know, those optimal principles that we've had right from the start make 10 that extra bit special. You know, that's why we're going to be the next Arbitrum, the next Optimism. And so having TGE in Q4, that's going to maximize the chances for that event to be an optimal event with an optimal outcome for as many people as possible. So really looking forward to that. And what else do we do? We'll look at how we distribute tokens, for example. So over 43% of the total supply, that's earmarked for sustainable ecosystem expansion and community initiatives. And that includes things like, you know, incubation programs, bug bounty programs, things like TEE Kitchen and other community rewards, and being able to put such a significant portion of the token allocation over to the community is really at the heart of why 10 exists. And that community focused approach is something is worth touching on with the roadmap. So something that you guys will see on the roadmap is the 10 sequencer revenue share model. So like other L2s, Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, Scroll, there's what's called a sequencer fee. So at the center of any L2 network, there's a degree of computation, if you like, that has to happen, and that will happen on the sequencer. And there's a small fee to pay there. The fee is way less than Ethereum's gas fee. You know, that's part of the reason why L2s exist. And that's the fee to kind of cover things like operational overheads. But these other L2s, they're taking a little bit more on top, more than just covering the costs. In actual fact, they're taking $400 million. So there's a lot of fee generation happening within these L2s. And you know, there's the odd L2 that shares it for public goods, but a lot of that is going straight into their treasury. So, you know, 10 is going to be the next Arbitrum, but we're going to be way better. And this is beyond the privacy feature. We're talking about opportunities to take a share of those sequencer fees. So that would be in the form of rewards for the community. So the more you use 10, the more rewards, the more chance of a reward you're going to receive. And that's really exciting to be able to be bringing that to the 10 community. Something else you'll see on the roadmap is bringing node staking online. So in addition to the sequencer nodes, to be able to realize this decentralized network model and to solve that decentralization puzzle, the 10 network has these validator nodes, and anybody can run a validator node. And for those to be able to run in a way that's particularly robust and successful, there's a staking opportunity on those nodes as well. And I'll let Case talk about it in a bit more detail. And this is we'll be excited to be able to share the detail. But that staking opportunity is something that's going to be uniquely available to 10 token holders. Case, I don't know if you want to enrich on that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I guess a lot of people will be thinking, oh no, not another staking platform. But this is different. So this is the opportunity to earn yield on 10. But uniquely, we're working on that opportunity for the yield to be paid out in ETH. So you're probably seeing loads of staking platforms out there where you stake and the project effectively is paying you out in the same token that you're securing the network with, and that just ends up being inflationary, and it never works out long term. But this is different. It gets paid out in ETH, so provides users definitely with a strong reason to hodl. There'll also be some magic that will be sprinkling onto the network that allow entry into unique gamified dApps, where again sequence of revenue will be distributed. Because we know that while doing serious stuff on chain, regular users also want to have fun. So, it's, as well as being this super serious chain, it's also going to be the place where people have the most enjoyable experience and want to keep coming back for more. And finally, we're working on something that's never been done before. And unfortunately, I can't say too much about it. There's so many moving pieces, but hopefully in a future space. But definitely watch this space because it's going to be a true game changer. And I'll just leave it there.
Thanks, guys. Bev, back to you.
Amazing. So we should be having questions now from the 10 community. So let me just open up and see what we've got. Amazing.
Shout out from Maria.
Shout out to Maria. We appreciate Maria. Okay, the first question here is, I think this one's probably for Case. Within a sea of L2s, all of which are adapting for visibility and a public blockchain, why does 10 feel that using TEs and encryption is going to make Web3 great again?
Yeah, it's a good question. First, I think it's easy for people to sort of like come along and copy what has been done previously, right? A lot of L2s are forks of other L2s. Some are just using, the op stack straight up or the arb stack because it's easy to get to market with, right? And you're just recreating the wheel over and over again. It's difficult to actually do something new and build an encrypted L2. I mean, there are others doing it and they're not live yet. And the reason being is they've been sort of hammering at this for years, as we have. And it's just an incredibly difficult problem to solve. And, I think like as a team, we didn't just start using TEEs when we started working on 10. It's something we'd worked on for like 5 years plus when we were building Corda. And I think it just takes sort of like, a unique team, a unique group of people to come together and build something like this. And the truth is it opens up massive opportunities because, if you're a developer, every dApp that you build today on a transparent chain, the first problem you've got to think about is, well, what can I build that only works in a space where everyone sees everything? And if it's like, well, actually my dApp won't really work if everyone sees everything, then you're stuck, right? And you're in this restricted design space where you can only build a small subset of, the global number of applications you could potentially build, i.e. whatever is in Web 2. And that's what we're doing. We're massively opening up the design space, and we've built it in such a way that it scales massively. It's just as fast as Arbitrum and Optimism, except it's got these added powers. And I think we're probably overdue like a solid technical blog post, because we do talk about the encryption a lot, but there's also a bunch of other features that make 10 unique for so many types of dApp. So yeah, we'll get on that. We'll make sure we publish something very soon that gives you guys the entire lowdown of why 10 is so special. But the way I like to think about it is it's Arbitrum or Optimism plus a whole bunch more, a whole new design space. And, with it, we're going to unleash some really exciting things, from iGaming to institutions to new forms of DeFi. It's going to be a hell of a ride.
I think what really brought it home for me is when we ran that experiment with the AI agent, and we had an AI agent on Twitter, and this was probably early in the summer this year, and there were lots of kind of copycat agents happening, and then you kind of look under the hood and you realize there's a human being actually tapping away and typing those posts, which was really disappointing, because it's like the AI dream was being eroded away. But being able to run, as we did, that AI agent within a TEE, so you had a completely autonomous AI agent that you could share like super sensitive information with, that really brought it home to me that there is a real hand-in-glove fit for when you think about the use cases and when you think about the reasons a private blockchain solution needs to exist. And I've been accused of just kind of picking my moments to be able to demonstrate how our timing is impeccable, but I can't help feeling our timing is impeccable when it comes to 10 and the future of AI. I think they're going to be absolutely crucial if you want to have AI agents interacting, collaborating, making micro payments, using your sensitive data, coming up with best outcomes based upon private information between you and friends. That would only be possible with 10 on Ethereum. So yeah, very exciting times.
Amazing. We've got one question on the tech as well. By the way, anyone else who has any questions, just feel free to comment below, and you'll be next. So the next question here is actually, what does 10 utilize in a world of ZK privacy or FHU MPC? What is 10 using to deliver privacy? And I think I'll add on to that as well. In a time where there's so much focus around institutions or stable coins or RWAs even, why do you think our flavor of encryption with what we're using is actually satisfactory for the new mega players who are now coming on chain versus the likes of ZK, etc.?
I can start because like Bob kind of touched on when he was talking about cooking in the TE kitchen. We use these TEEs, trusted execution environments, which the way I see them is kind of like this verifiable black box. So sealed from the outside and approval from the inside. So you already use TEEs now without you realizing it. Apple uses them for Face ID, and WorldCoin uses them for iris scans. So what 10 is doing is run the entire EVM inside TEEs, which means that contracts can operate totally privately, and no one can see inside of this secret logic, which changes everything. Because as Case mentioned, blockchains today, everything's exposed. This transparency breaks a lot of important use cases, like we've shown, with hidden moves in games, trading strategies, AI agents need to remember things. All of that becomes impossible. And, Bob, you touched on some other methods of privacy. We see a lot of value in other forms of privacy. ZK is great for very simple proofs, like I own this, but not for these complex, encrypted logic. It's just rigid and hard to update. So TEs really are the only privacy tech that work at this scale now and are flexible enough for us to build these games, enough for AI, secure enough for serious apps, and that's why we are built on them. But I know Gavin and Case have a strong background and have worked a lot more than with TEs than me, from coming from R3. So maybe you can touch a little bit more on your experience.
Oh, you covered a huge amount there, Liam. I think the only other piece, just to be super precise, we're using Intel SGX, so that's a TEE platform that's readily available in all the major clouds platforms, so Azure, Alibaba, IBM, which in itself has a degree of security as well. And I think having the right team, Case touched on it already, is crucial to be able to make the best of that. Actually, I should mention attestation briefly because it's something that often gets forgotten about, and I guess I'm saving Case saying it because this is the thing he always likes to cover. In that, with TEEs, you do get the unique quality that you can actually validate what's running within that encrypted environment is what you'd expect to be running, which is a unique feature in that it gives you 100% confidence. So, which is why node validators can exist and why we can have this whole staking opportunity with 10, because you can be highly confident that the validator nodes running a TEE are running the code that they should be. Because if they're not, then they get kicked off the network. Well, they don't even join the network. So, really, we're able to close out that threat vector there.
Yeah, that's that definitely rings true. I think I'll just have one final thing, which is the bear case for TEEs has always been, but TEEs can get hacked. But the reality check is so can ZK circuits, so can MPC implementation, so can literally any system. The difference is TEEs are iterating with trillion-dollar hardware giants behind them. Whether it's Apple, Google, they're all using TEEs. Every generation gets stronger, every flaw gets patched, and you get security through this huge industrial momentum. So if you want actual live running, usable private applications today, TEEs are literally the only game in town.
Amazing. So I've got a question from Inoka. Hello, Inoka. What TPS or gas reduction benchmarks are you seeing on the testnet compared to mainnet Ethereum?
I can definitely say that the addition of TEEs has a negligible impact on TPS. With our tests, we found it had an 8% overhead, which is practically nothing when you're talking about milliseconds. So we're comfortable that TEE technology in itself doesn't introduce any additional notable impact when you compare it to other L2s like Arbitrum and Optimism. The actual TPS numbers I don't have to hand right now. I don't know if the other guys have got the actual numbers.
I don't have the numbers, but probably something we should publish more widely so everyone can check them out. But I think one thing to put that into perspective, the 8% performance hit. Do you know what the overhead is from something like FHE? It's 10,000 times slower than native compute.
Oh, well, I'll be damned. I believe regarding TPS, I mean, the last number I checked with the tech team, I mean, theoretically, it's on par with the likes of Arbitrum and Optimism. It's around 40,000 TPS in theory. That's the last number I got from the tech team. Now, we have a question, Gavin, probably one for you now. You mentioned TGE. It might make sense for those who might have just joined to give them more insight around TGE.
Yeah, absolutely. An exciting time. TGE is top of mind for many people, quite rightly so, especially if you've just come through the Legion community sale. So absolutely, that's top of mind. So yeah, optimal outcomes. That's always what we're focusing on. And so TGE in Q4, that's going to give us the opportunity to really maximize the chances of TGE just being something spectacular, a really enjoyable event for everybody.
Amazing. I think that's all the questions we have. We have one question. I think this was for Liam. Is Liam able to breathe in space? Is this a demonstration of the mainnet capabilities powered by TE? Yes or no? Is that a yes or no, Liam?
Yeah.
Can you breathe in space, Liam?
Oh, I think it just.
Are you breathing, Liam? Just give us a thumbs up if you can't breathe.
There is actually one more question I think we should touch on from Dank. Bob, can you see this one about the node running?
The 0.5, I think it was that one.
I can read out here. So it's a quick question on node running. It's from Dank. It says, I believe the minimum tokens needed to run a node is 50K 10 tokens, but what would be the max in a node? Also, would more tokens in a single node lead to more output or validations?
Yeah, so the way we've modeled it, you're right, it is 50,000 minimum stake and actually that stake will modify, will change over time as 10 becomes more valuable. Well, there's kind of two components: 10 becoming more valuable potentially, and more value actually on the network. Because really that stake is intended to make sure that the node operator has got some skin in the game. So that's why that's a fairly large number, and it could get significantly larger. Anyway, point is, we can there's also delegated staking as well. So if you do increase the number of the size of the stake, then that would increase the chances of getting a portion of the reward. So there's an incentive there for a node operator, and there are professional node operating outfits out there. There are some form of encouragement to be able to run nodes very reliably, so that it attracts as much of a staking opportunity as possible, so that there's a higher chance of the rewards landing on that particular node operator for them to share.
And Gavin, I can see you have a fan. There was a comment just put up saying, "Gavin, I love you."
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
All right. I see there's no more questions. So what I'll do, I'll give a summary of what's to come in the very short term. So like I said, next week on Monday, we'll be having our first session of the Cooking in the TE Kitchen. Applications are still open right now. You see that first or second tweet on the 10 Protocol X page. As I mentioned again, and Case also reminded me, we are working with Lovable, who recently raised 200 million at a unicorn status. It's the fastest company or AI company even to hit 100 million in ARR. And,
fastest software company.
There we go, fastest software company. You heard it from the horse's mouth. So fastest software company to hit 100 million ARR, and they're working with 10 as the very first project in the entirety of Web3. So out of every chain or everything that Lovable has chosen 10. So that should tell you a lot. I'll leave it there. The application is still open. They will be closing tonight at midnight, and tomorrow we should be pinging all the penultimate 10 chefs who will be cooking in the TE Kitchen. Anything from Liam, Gavin, or Revelation to end this call, guys?
Just to say thanks for coming along onto the community. As you say, we've got a lot of new joiners this week. Really pleased to have you on board. It's a real game changer for us. It gives us an extra boost internally as a team. We've never felt so driven to be able to get 10 to be something absolutely stellar. We're so excited about what's coming up. So yeah, really glad to have you guys on board.
Yeah, thanks everyone for always coming to these 10 out of 10 calls, and keep snapping, because the leaderboard is getting tighter and tighter, and now is your chance to make sure your spot is secured. So keep snapping is my final words.
Amazing. Keep snapping, keep following 10. Follow us on X if you haven't already. Make sure you click the bell icon for any notifications. The kitchen is next week. We're ready. You're ready. The community sale was oversubscribed, over 5.6 million in requested amounts. Yeah, I mean, I'll end it on that. I mean, I think for now, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for staying with us to date. There's so much to come. The next few months are filled with so many updates. I will say with hand on heart, we are making Web3 great again, leveraging TEs and encryption. So I'll leave it then. 10-10 for now, G10. And yeah, thanks for joining us today, guys. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.
10-10.
G10, everyone.
G10, guys. See you in a bit.